Have we started?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, have we? When? A while ago.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
B-roll.
I feel weird. Inju, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Why are we interviewing you? Can you tell me?
I don't know.
Quentin, do you have an answer?
Yeah. Well, we're curious about aspects of Inju's existence, including her work and her general demeanor and way of being.
I feel like a specimen. Like that got captured.
With this phrasing, I understand. Like the general idea was like getting people to talk about stuff they're excited about and like excited about to do here, like show why they're awesome. I was curious about, I don't know, your design stuff and your like intuitions, how you like think about that as well. I was really curious about this thing.
Oh.
But we can talk about something else if it feels better.
It's like so. There's like so much that I feel like I gotta talk about. Like you have to like draw it out of me, or we could be more playful and do something else. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Let me think. If you have an idea.
Do people treat you like a specimen often? Do you get that feeling a lot?
Only the weird people. Like,
Only the weird people?
this was the specimen. So every time I say something, I don't actually mean it that much. Like I mean it maybe 40%, and I'll just say it, and then it's not that serious. The people who actually treat me like a specimen are the ones who are kind of like intrigued by me in a way that makes me go like, yo, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think sometimes like people get confused by me and try to put labels and usually come up with descriptions that are something like creature, something like that.
Like a mythical being or
Yeah, that kind of
spirit.
stuff. Or like like schizo, or like whatever word that feels comforting for them to deal with me, like to put me in a frame so it's like it's easier to deal with me. Yeah.
Are these like hostile labelings or like?
Oh no, like, wow, you're a creature. I'm like, okay. And I put it into my note of all the descriptions people say about me.
You have a list?
Yeah, I have a list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have friends who like previously maybe viewed you this way, this kind of like distancing way, and then now they're like, oh, you're just some guy?
No. Usually what they end up doing is like they cycle through different descriptions until they come at the conclusion, which is something like Inju is Inju.
Okay.
And so that is something like some guy, except I guess, I think they're all my close friends are still kind of intrigued by me. I don't know if I'm making friends with people who are intrigued by me, or
Yeah.
I don't know which way it goes. But I have mutual appreciation for them too, so I think they're kind of interesting too. Yeah.
Have you ever noticed yourself wondering about another person that way? Like being intrigued by somebody?
A lot, but I wouldn't call anyone. I would call Deep Fates a creature. I'm very, very intrigued by Deep Fates.
Okay.
I want to like know more about him.
Is it mutual?
I think I don't think he sees me that way, but I think he appreciates me seeing him that way. Maybe. Yeah. Say something! It's so awkward!
Yeah.
Is it awkward?
Oh, it's like too hot. It's like too hot. I'm sweating. It's hot. Here.
What you do today?
Okay, so I went to sleep at 3:30 because of a fucking mosquito that was biting my face. And then I woke up at 8 to say goodbye to Leona before she left. But she was packing and I was like, I want to find the right time so that just when she leaves, I can come out and say bye. and I ended up waiting like 50 minutes. And then I was like falling asleep and I was like, oh my god, imagine waking up this early, waiting 50 minutes and just missing her. So I just like went up to her and she was like, oh, and I was like, you know, I just have to say bye. So I said bye. And then I went back to sleep and then maybe moved into my flat. But then like, I wanted to switch rooms with Leona before maybe came in, and then I was just like, ooh, and then you know that cat meme of like the cat doing laundry like really quickly.
I'm not sure.
Put it on. I was doing that. I was like, yeah, and then like doing that, and then I realized there was so much sand on the floor because of the beach. Yeah. So I was literally just doing like house chores suddenly. I was like, I was like drooling and then like snapped out. I was like, ugh. And then she came, she left. And then I was in like fugue state for 1 hour. And then I went to the Vietnamese place that I've went already like 8 times.
Whoa.
Right, 8.
Was it good?
Yeah. And this time I had the special pho with all the meat. Like it had tofu, shrimp, chicken, beef, and prawn. Ate it, and then I was like, damn, I want an eclair. So I got an eclair, and then I went back home and then fell asleep. It's kind of like every day is like this. And then I had a call with a friend from Fractal, which is in New York. He was a very quiet guy, so it was very silent.
Like this interview?
It was like this interview. And I felt cautious of asking too many questions because I don't like being asked too many questions like in a row. But it lasted 50 minutes and I was like, good, that's enough. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's time to do this interview, so I came here. And now it's like, what time is it, like 5? 4?
Yeah, it's like 5.
Yeah.
Do you not like awkwardness?
Yeah, I don't like awkwardness.
What do you think it is? Awkwardness.
The thing where you go like
self-consciousness or something?
no, like you're about to say something and then everyone's like anticipating something, like something's supposed to happen and nothing happens and you're like, this is like this tension.
Like expectation?
Yeah. If it was like an agreed thing with everybody that we're chill, then it's fine.
Does everyone agree we're chill?
I think I'm agreeing.
Yani.
We're not awkward.
Yeah, are you chill?
I'm chill, yeah.
Are we chill?
Are you chill? We're pretty chill.
Certainly not awkward in this room.
Okay, maybe there's another one. All eyes are on me right now. And I have stage fright. Historically, I have like bad stage fright, so.
Can everyone do something silly? So you're like,
Oh yeah.
No, but that's still being self-conscious of the me being stared at thing. So.
I would be more weird, but I don't want to face docs and turn around by accident.
Okay.
It can be weird.
But no, it's okay. Now it's fine. Okay, now it's fine.
Because we exercise it.
Yeah. Also, I wanna like put my back on the wall. Can I have the yellow? Yes. Yes. Okay. Oh. This is nice.
I want to talk about your art. Yeah.
Which one is yours?
The
Yes.
yeah. Can you peel it? Actually, can you like pan it? No, is that too much work? Huh?
Can you
Okay.
animate all of them and make them fly around?
Like live?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm curious about these questions.
Yeah, I think I wrote about. You said like every time you go to a new city, you go to an art museum,
Yes.
and I don't know if I have a question, but I was curious what's up with that, and like if you have like maybe like what's your is there like a museum experience that was like really memorable?
Yeah. Look, I went to Prague. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
I was supposed to go with my first boyfriend in 2019, but we broke up, and he already bought the tickets. And then I was like, should I break up with him after the trip or before the trip? So I broke up before the trip, and I went alone. You know what? Traveling alone is kind of sad in my experience. I think it's the people that really make the place for me, the experience fun.
Yeah.
So I was like traveling around. I forgot which museum it was. It was like some castle, and the way that they curated the space was phenomenal. Like
Nominal.
phenomenal.
Oh.
The way the lighting, so the lighting never shined directly at the painting, but it shined onto the walls, which mellowed out the light and diffused it onto the painting. But the walls were never like straight; they were all arched, and all the paintings were kind of arched. But I don't know, it's just so beautiful. I'll send you some photos and you could look at it.
All the editing work I'm being assigned.
This is all great.
Yeah. The other one is definitely Nezu Museum in Tokyo.
Ah.
But it's not the museum, but it's the garden. That was amazing. I put one of that in my pages in the portfolio. It was like 1 or 2 pages of the 11-page portfolio that I had to submit for my landscape masters to get in. And it was just me explaining how I felt about it.
Ah.
But all the pages in my portfolio is just me explaining how I felt about places. And I saw I have like 25 friends, peers in my course, and I saw theirs. It was fucking insane. You know those like super talented Chinese people who are on the grind 4 years of like landscape architecture, and it's just like a fully fledged portfolio with like no words, and it's just all like rendering and stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone's was like that.
Like images.
Yeah, and then mine was literally just like writing and some pictures.
Wow.
Interesting.
And I was just like, wow, I like word sold my way in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I cracked that shit out in like 11 days.
Okay.
So I was like, but it has been brewing in my mind for a year.
Did you have already like a folder of like places you admire the design of before?
It just came up. And 2 pages in that portfolio was, okay, one thing I'm really good at is recording things and archiving it. Not as much now, but basically I lived for 6 years in my middle school to high school in the same room, but all the furniture was modular so I could move it around. And I would just experiment with different feng shui or like arrangement of the furniture, and I came up with at least like 30 different arrangements. And the room wasn't like even big. The room was like this big.
Oh,
Yeah.
make me want to ask you to critique the feng shui of this room.
Okay, afterwards,
Yeah.
after the story. And I took a photo of every single one, put it into a folder, and then I rendered it 3D, and then I put it on my portfolio, and then talked about why I did it and like how I feel about it and stuff like that. Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah. That's why I want to move into the unfurnished house this time, because I've been living in I've been living 1 year in like a student accommodation, and fucking all the furniture's like stuck into place, and I can't move anything around, and it's so annoying.
Yeah.
So I just applied for an unfurnished house near the Botanics, and I'm gonna have so much fun. The feng shui of this room, I love big windows, and the flappy door is so good because you can just open the entire window and close it.
Yeah, and sit here.
Yeah, and it's like not too bright. I think the sunroom for Portugal might be too bright, but I think I like this room. The fireplace being blocked, it feels blocked, and it kind of feels like there should be something going on, but it's not. And then the beige part, not.
It's a bit ugly.
Yeah, it doesn't really match with the white.
You have
paint it.
pictures of everything, of course. Can you render it in 3D so we can?
Ah! But it's like mostly like floor based, and there aren't many furnitures. But so I don't see much problem with it. But yeah, it's usually when I walk in and there's like a furniture blocking something. So that's why in that room I have many ideas about how to arrange tables.
Were you here when it was rearranged already?
It was when it was getting rearranged, and that's why I was like, you should lower the height of the standing desk so that it's in line with all the other desks. That makes it feel less like it's standing out of like nowhere. Can I have some lactose-free milk?
Sure.
I had a question, Inju. I was curious about this earlier. Like, do you feel like you're different somehow from the other people in your program? It's like landscape architecture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like?
I think they're all retarded.
Yeah. Say more.
Okay, not everyone. There's one more girl who just like gets me.
Yeah.
But everyone else are so stuck in the assignment that they don't know what the bigger picture is, like why they're being asked to do this in the first place, and so they can't do the top-down thing. So it's just like they're like, do this, and they're like, they take it literally and they just do that.
How many of them are Chinese?
20 out of 25 people.
What?
And they can't speak English.
In
Oh,
Sheffield.
it's one of those programs.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's why I don't have friends there.
Okay.
But they're extremely artistically talented. It's just like they don't
Like
they got-
technically talented.
Technically talented,
Yeah.
not artistically. Technically talented.
Yeah.
So there's like language barrier, but also
Wow.
the Chinese brainwash barrier.
Yeah.
And fuck, the first semester when I tried to get in a group project with them, we were in a group project with them.
Yeah.
I was angry every day.
Okay.
I was like, you don't fucking get it. And then so the whole point of my course is to be more hands-on, more free, like more explorative, more drafty. But they kept trying to make perfect finished pieces on the laptop using software, and I'm like, no, it's about the hands-on drawing.
Yeah.
It's about the ideas.
Yeah.
And then the teacher kept telling them every time, like, no, stop doing that. We're trying to undo your like schooling.
Yeah.
And then they didn't get it. So I was like, sort of a bridge between the teacher and them, but it didn't work. So I got annoyed. And then last semester, I just got in a group with all the English-speaking friends, and then it went swimmingly. It was so good. Yeah.
Do you feel like the course is like aligned with your own desires for how you would want to go about the course? Like being free and
Yeah.
How can they accept so many like of these Chinese students who are clearly like in one type of learning or one type of study?
I think they're kind of on a mission to de-school them.
Do you think it works?
I think it does.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of loosening up more.
Okay.
And it's kind of fun to see them being very rigidly Chinese to just being like, okay, I guess it's okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then they have to ask, like, is this okay? Like, even this is okay? And then they're like, yeah, this is fine, it's fine.
Oh.
Have you gone through the same process as well at some point in your life?
With art, not really, because my mom was very against me being taught how to draw. So I was never taught how to draw.
Why was she against it?
Because she didn't want me to see the world in a rigid way in terms of creativity, even though she did enforce that on me anyway with her own beliefs about other things.
Yeah.
Because in Korea, the art entrance exam in Korea is the same. Every drawing looks exactly the same.
You did it?
I didn't do it because I didn't go to a Korean school or an art school. But everything is geared towards getting into a good school, which means that they have like one exam for all, and if you want to pass it, you have to meet that one specific criteria. And so if you look at all the drawings, they look the same.
As we see on screen.
I'm curious. I don't know if you want to talk about this. About the mountain in Korea.
Okay. So it can happen, but my dad's like a very, very heavy workaholic. Like he doesn't sleep. He has insomnia. He had insomnia my whole life.
Wait, sorry, what mountain?
Do you
So
want
there's,
to
so there's like a Korea. Our family our family, like my dad's family, the siblings have inherited a mountain.
Oh.
And they want to sell it.
Oh.
But to sell it, you want to increase the value of the mountain,
Sure.
the property.
Yeah.
So the uncles are coming up with ideas about what if we build a cafe and then sell it to the government. But my dad's the only person who actually has been in like doing business his whole life. And so he's like, no, don't do a fucking cafe, you retards. Make an art, like sculpture park, you know? And because all my uncles are like doctors, but my dad's like the only one who's doing like art business stuff. And then he was like, what if you design make a design proposal for the...
You, Inju?
Yeah,
Okay.
for the art sculpture park. And I'm
Wow.
like, bruh, like I don't know shit, like, but I could try. But then the problem is when you do any of these proposals, you gotta know the terrain, like, and you need to do a lot of photo surveys to see like what's up, so that and that's what I was doing for the past semester, like going on like multiple site visits to come up with redesigning, like renewal proposals and stuff. And so I was like, can you send me photos of that place? Can you go there and check out the place? Can you send me like the CAD, like the GIS data and stuff? And they're like, I don't know, like just figure it out yourself and just like come up with it. I'm like, what the fuck?
Your dad says.
Yeah, and I was just like, you can't just do that. But I guess you could find a way to do that. But I think my dad usually what he does is like he comes up with like 1,000 ideas about things that he wants to do. And then once he like locks into one, at that moment, it's so real to him. And so like he made a new group chat saying like, oh, we should all get in on this, like the family business. Like the whole family should get in on this. And I was like, yeah. But then I guess I could like follow through with it. But it's gonna be a pain in the ass to deal with that because he would just be messaging me like any time of the day to work on it. And I was like, I don't know if I wanna. But it is there. I think it's gonna happen. But it's up to me to decide if I want to step into it or not. Yeah, knowing my dad is... I don't know if I want to do it.
You think it's gonna be hard to work with him?
I've tried working with him before, and he made me the most angry in my life I've ever experienced in my life. I was screaming to the point where like my voice split into like I was doing Mongolian chanting. Like it was like that deep demonic like oh, and then like. and it was like the first time in my life I like threw furniture. Like I was so mad. So I was like I can't do that.
What piece of furniture?
It's like a metal crate, like a metal
Hollow?
cage.
Cage. Yeah. Nice.
And then I like just stomped out of the house. Yeah. And then my mom told me to apologize to him. And I was like, what? He made me mad. Yeah. But that was like 3 years ago.
Wait, what's a sculpture park? It's like a park where you expose sculptures of different artists?
If you go to the museum, the Casa de Serralves, you see like sculptures dotted around the museum grounds, and that's a sculpture park basically. Okay. Yeah, it would benefit. It would benefit my CV or something. Currently, my CV is empty. Yeah.
Even just doing the proposal would probably be good for you, right?
But there's this like, I don't want to do it unless it feels real. Like I don't want to do anything half-hearted and like sort of like grift my way on like write like a fake CV or something. Like it just feels icky. So unless I'm like very passionate about it, I don't want to do it. And I don't feel that passionate about it because I don't have enough information about that place. Like they're not sending me enough things to like
Could you
work
go
on.
and visit?
If I were to go and visit, it would be in the winter. It would be a different like landscape. I don't know how long they're planning to get this done. So it might have already like things might have already changed by then. And I think my dad wanted it to be like worked on over the summer. So yeah.
Wait, the proposal to be worked on during the summer?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hire someone to go visit the site and take a bunch of pictures? And
No, they're like,
get
I don't want to
these
spend
started?
more money on this, you know. So, but I could ask. I
So
could.
they're not taking this job seriously.
No, but you know what? Maybe I'm taking it too seriously because they've been doing this shit for like 30 years, and I'm like, I don't have.
Planning about building a cafe, like.
No, just like how to do this thing, like this proposal thing. When they think like it's not like a big deal to just like half-ass it, maybe it isn't a big deal. Maybe I'm taking it too seriously.
I don't know if they've been doing it 30 years and nothing's happened. I don't know if they're
No.
doing
I mean, they've been doing like this kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
For the, not on that mountain.
Okay, yeah.
This was like a new information, like new news. It was like a news.
New project.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of work does excite you? Like, what kind of work do you want to do in the future?
So with landscape stuff, I initially wanted to do planting design, which means what it is. Do you know what?
Plants?
So, when you think of gardening is kind of like a personal, intimate hobby, whereas planting design is more like really designing the space with plants.
Okay.
And so like you have to like specify exactly which plants are planted where, how many of them, the units and the height, and when they would be planted through the seasons, like how they interact with each other, and planning for their growth over like 10 years or like 1,000 years. And like no, there's like a project called Tokachi Million Forest, which Tokachi Millennium Forest, which was designed to last 1,000 years. And so usually I think it's a bit like learning a language. You know, when you say like you need to, usually to be fluent in Chinese, you gotta know like 2,000 characters or something, right? So I think it's like to be somewhat fluent in the language of planting design, you gotta know like 2,000 species of plants and like the climate and the geology and the hydrology of like which plants thrive where, how do they interact with that specific climate and the other plants surrounding it, the soil, and the lighting, like depending on the shade, right? And the surrounding landscape and the types of people that come to visit, right? And the seasons. And so it's a lot.
Who does that? Yeah.
Me. And so
Is that still what interests you?
so one of the reasons why I changed from marine biology to landscape architecture is because marine biology is kind of stifling. I just met all the friends are crazy passionate nerds about one specific thing. My professor was researching potato parasites for like 30 years. Or like what is it? Like, you know, sponges, like specific species of sponges.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, I can't do that shit. Like, I don't. And then I did jujitsu. And then jujitsu is different to like boxing, where like in boxing or Muay Thai, you just practice the same moves over and over again. With swimming, you practice the same moves over and over again. But with jujitsu, you have so many different moves and so many different variations. It's kind of like chess.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I fucking love this kind of shit.
Yeah.
And it translates across everything else.
That's so cool.
Climbing too, and then landscape architecture as well. Yeah. So yeah, I like optionality. I like being able to do this. But then I was like, wow, there's so much option with planting design alone. However, I wanna get into landscape theory because the theory is so fucking interesting, like Christopher Alexander stuff. And I was like reading into like the pattern language stuff and place theory, like what makes a place feel right or why is it off? Like, and there's like Western way of approaching that, which is like, you know, like the Eastern ways, like feng shui or like whatever, but then not whatever. Sorry about that, it's not whatever. And then there's like politics about where you can plant street trees and what kind of street trees can be planted. And then there's also like policy stuff, and then there's also urban planning, which is not even not planting design, it's like whole big scale. And then there's like park design and just public spaces. And then I'm like, I don't know what I want to do now, because I want to do something there, but I don't know what. And I'm getting into music, like experimental music stuff, and I could potentially do sound landscape design, like landscape sound installation stuff. And so
where would that be? Where do you have those besides like art museums?
Did you follow like charter cities or stuff like that? Like
chartered cities?
Do you know what
cities.
like people like try to like urban planners and stuff like that like try to do a city from scratch with like a whole design.
Oh
like,
no!
Like Devon Zugel, for example.
Which one?
Devon Zugel.
Devon Zugel? Zoigel?
Yeah.
I might have heard it, but I need to see the image because I'm not very good at like remembering names.
Do you
Yeah.
have sound design in places outside of museums? Like, where would you design sounds for?
Like, I guess hotels. Oh yeah,
Like the
hotels.
music?
But it's just like there's a lot of like subtle ambient stuff. But I do want to do like more experimental stuff.
Okay.
And there are a lot of like designers doing that. And then it's a bit like hosting camps, but then with sound experiment stuff. And there's like one happening in Netherlands in August that I told my mom about, and then she's like, you could go check that out.
Okay.
It's like a festival thing.
Wow.
Yeah, and I should show you. Link here. Yeah, but that's just an idea. But my parents are very encouraging of me doing non-conventional things, but then being able to like pay for my own ass, you know. Like as long as like you're financially independent, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Is what they're. But then it has to be cool. Like it has to look. It has to sound cool to them.
To your parents?
Yeah, but then I think what I find cool in art is what they find cool as well. So at least those values are aligned. Yeah.
Convenient.
It's very convenient. Yeah. So I am very, very grateful for like having somewhat unconventional Asian parents. Like they don't say like you need to be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. They're like, you can do whatever you want, as long as it's cool. As long as it's cool. Yeah. They don't like me being lazy. And I try to explain to them, this is not being lazy, you know? It's like...
What's not being lazy?
You know how I described my day today?
Sure.
That kind of stuff.
Okay.
I guess... I think being lazy, like, you know, I was kind of annoyed by the use of lazy. Like, I felt like you don't really need that word anymore. But then I realized, I guess you do, because I think laziness is the opposite of intrigue or curiosity. I think if you stop being curious about the world, that's what makes you lazy. And the openness, like lack of openness, I guess maybe that's laziness, because that comes out of convenience, like being narrow-minded. Yeah.
How do you feel about the other people in your field? Like, do you think they're interesting? Are they cool?
Like my course?
Not just your course, but for instance, if you went to a festival or in your industry in general, like, do you feel excited by the people doing the same stuff that you're doing?
Not really.
Okay.
Okay, so the planting designers are way more interesting than the landscape architects, because if you look at landscape architecture, most of them all look the same. They all converge through the same like kind of aesthetic. And this happens a lot in like graphic design as well. You see like those like graphic design posters that look cool,
Like all minimalist.
all minimalist, but it doesn't really say anything, and everyone kind of does the same thing. And I'm like, why? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right?
The AI is grog. That's what the AI is doing.
Yeah, and if you do landscape, if you like just search up a normal landscape architecture studios and look at their work, they all look the same. It's just like stole, clean, trimmed, mowned lawn Grass,
Yeah.
flat, like short grass,
Yeah.
wooden panels,
Yeah.
and just like some street poles and some trees kind of vibe. And the reason why I chose my master's program is because we're trying to shift the paradigm more and then do more, not even sustainable, but in the past when we did planting, people wanted to show off their wealth by doing high maintenance planting. So you had to have gardeners to take care of the garden and always like resow the seeds and then like have the flowers like always like well maintained. But now we want to plant it and then just like walk away from it and then let nature do its own work kind of thing. And you might need some maintenance like once or twice a year, but you don't want so much high maintenance, and these are called like perennial planting. It used to be like annual and biannuals, which means that like the flowers only last for 1 or 2 years. Perennials, they last for like 3 to 5 to 10 years.
Huh.
Yeah.
Before you need to replant them.
Yeah. And sort of like the pioneer or like the trailblazer of that is sort of Pete Rudolph and Nigel Dunnett, and both of them are professors at my university. And actually, so the reason why I chose this because it came to me in a dream on the third year of my university. Like I told my friends all of this, so I think you guys might know about this. But when I told my parents, my dad was like, "Hey, come to Switzerland for the Art Basel Festival. I want you to meet like my colleagues." So I went to a museum called Hauser and Wirth in Switzerland. And they gave me a book written about Pete Rudolph's work. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then that museum director told me to visit one in Bath, Somerset in the UK, because Pete Rudolph has a garden there, designed a garden there. So in the summer holiday, I went to visit and saw it. And I put that on my portfolio. I was like, yo, look at this shit. Like, I loved it so much. And then at that point, I didn't know about Sheffield. And then I just like searched up the writer of the book. And the writer said, Sheffield is the best university for perennial planting design, and this guy that you just be reading about is a visiting professor there, so if you want to check it out, you can go. And actually, Nigel Dunnett is the guy who did the... What's that collective art place in London? The Barbican. Yeah, he did the planting for the Barbican.
The brutalist.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh wow, it's so
Yeah,
good. It's,
yeah.
Oh, it's like the first brutalist place that I liked.
Yeah, yeah. So he did the planting, and I've known about him actually for a while. And he is directly my professor for planting. So if I wanted to get into planting design this coming semester, I could work under him. But I'm like, I want to kind of shift more into the theory stuff and the Christopher Alexander stuff. And the other professor who's more into the theory stuff met Christopher Alexander a bunch of times, and he's like a sort of like a follower of Christopher Alexander. And I'm like, wait, which one do I do now? But I'm kind of tending towards the theory stuff now. And then Deco from Jess Camp, he like independently just like messaged me saying like, I don't know why, but I think you'd be interested in this, and sent me a building beauty course, which is run by Christopher Alexander's wife Maggie, and they only take like 7 to 12 students a year to do all this like sort of like a master's course. And he's like, you could do 2 masters at once. Have you heard about that? I'm like, I don't know. And then he's like, I thought I couldn't until I did it, and I was just like, fuck. So maybe I might do that.
Oh.
I might do that. That means I need to read Nature of Order 1 and 2, which is a really, really dense book. But you can pick and choose your course, and yeah, so that's where I am now. However, so I was trying to work on some projects or be more creative and read some books and do some schoolwork while I was here, but shit happened, man, like interpersonal conflict, 2 weeks, and I couldn't get any work done, but then I had fun time exploring Porto. It was fun, and it's nice being around people. I wish I could do it again. Like, if I did it one more time, then like I could really express myself, and I still have trouble expressing myself artistically in front of people. It's like that stage fright thing. Like I need to be alone to feel, because I need to tap into that vulnerable state, that intimate state, and do it. It's like how I can't really do proper stretching in front of people. Yeah, so that's why I booked the other room, so that I could do some like proper stretching there with the doors closed. So yeah, well that's so much talking, but
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, we can review it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really cool. Yeah, we enjoyed it.
You enjoy?
But what are the fucking questions? I'm curious about
You can share.
It's locked.
What time is it? How much time has passed?
40.
40 minutes.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I still have questions.
Okay.
You can keep going. Oh, battery.
Do you have 5 minutes?
Huh?
You have 5 minutes?
I've all the time.
I gotta balance.
You're gonna bounce?
It's good.
Okay.
Gotta finish my bad art. Bad music.
Yeah. Oh, you should do maybe interview as well.
I don't
Couple
think
more.
we should do this one. Do you do something? Do you intentionally? No, but that's not the question I want to ask.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
wanted to follow up on the stuff we were talking about.
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Sure.
If you want.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess the stuff you've been doing in Porto could be classified as like leisure, right?
Yeah.
You were like, I'm not being lazy, you know. I call it leisure. And one thing, I just saw this paper where people in America gave like $1,000 per month to people and measured like a bunch of outcomes, like a really detailed study, and there was no sizable effect on most things, except people spend more time in leisure, right? So like, the sense I get from it is like there's something there, right? And I wanted to hear you, like your take on what is leisure? Why do we do it? How do you think the rest of your life unfolds after you've had leisure versus when you haven't had leisure? Even if you're not tired.
Hello. We're doing an interview right now. Yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you. I think most people are burnt out. So I think it's so you said that they gave some people money.
Yeah.
And they ended up doing it on leisure. I think with sufficient amount of leisure, there will come a point where it's just like it's so natural for them to start creating things, like so natural for them to start doing what they want to do. But most of society is like burnt out as fuck. So, what was the question?
What's your take on leisure?
My take.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with leisure?
I feel like in an ideal society, we should be leisuring like most of the time, and I think I'm thinking of like island societies. I feel like they're leisuring a lot of the times.
Island societies?
Yeah,
Oh.
maybe. I think that's where the no, but then But then there's no excuse to creating. I think even when you're burnt and stressed out and like working full time, there's always time to create. Yeah, what is it about leisure? I think it's like this. You need enough time and space to explore yourself without so many triggers happening, and like all this therapy, healing, inner work stuff. And once you do enough of that, you get more in the flow. Like you just like you get that intuition back. Like you know how to that thing back, and if you are more in touch with that, then it becomes way effortless, like frictionless to do what you want to do and like have that align with like how you can show up in the world, or like how you can contribute to the world. And so that's why leisure is helpful. Well, we need it. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. What do you think?
What do I think? Yeah, I think I'd say the same thing in slightly different words.
Ah.
I'd be like, you need to still the pond in some way.
Get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if you're burnt out, there's a lot of like turbulence or whatever, and leisure allows you to sort of self-soothe.
You get that clarity once.
Yeah.
Like good art teacher, I always found like so impressive. Like in any art, so good art teachers often get really good at like I don't want to say tricking people, but like getting people to like put aside all the getting on in your own way, and like so suddenly like people realize they're like insanely creative, where they had like this self-image that like I cannot paint, or
Yeah.
I was like even like today, Yanni behind the camera like did a painting workshop. And I passed by like all the canvas, and they were all like, to me, like museum level of like painting, like really impressive.
Ah.
And like, how do you get like 15 random people to like draw museum level of a painting? Is I don't know, it blows some kind of assumption in my mind in a way to see that.
Leisure is like, even the word sounds, there's like a slowness to it, slowing down. Leisure. And we keep rushing things, and rushing is like being reactive to things instead of like just being there. But so if you're constantly in the state of reacting to things, you're like trapped in your patterns. So like say like you said something like triggering to me, and then like I like react to it without thinking, without even like, it's not even thinking, it just happens, and we're like reacting to each other. And if that keeps going, like there's like really not much room for something outside of that, like some possibility outside of that. But if you slow down, if you could have that distance between you and the reaction, then you're like, oh wait, there are other ways, there are like other modes, like other ideas, other frames, other ways of seeing, other perceptions, and then you're like, wow, there's like so much more in the world than whatever I've been tranced in for my whole life. Yeah.
Is this a thing that Alexander Technique helped you on?
Yeah. I think when they talk about inhibition, it's like that. It's like noticing that reactivity coming up, like that impulse to that, and then instead of going like, you're like, oh, that thing, and then you're like, so it's like constant like noticing, and then not doing it, like not. It's like so what usually happens, I feel like, is you see a car zooting by, and then you want to like hop on it like immediately. It's like a border collie seeing a ball like getting chucked, and you're like and then like you want to like follow that, but then there's like constantly there's just like balls being thrown, and then you're like like constantly you're like lagging like but then instead of doing that, you're like you see the ball, and then you're like it's like this, and you're like and then you get to notice all the colors and shapes of the ball, and then you're like, wait, I like that one. Now I want to follow that impulse to get that specific ball instead of all the fucking 100 balls and not catching all of them, So yeah. Okay, that's enough metaphor.
Yeah, that's really good. I like this metaphor.
Cool. If you want to check out the questions.
Why did you delete your Twitter account? I feel like I finished the quest. I've tried everything that I could on Twitter. When I first started, it's like a whole different thing that I'm talking about, but if I speedrun it, I don't know if you have enough, 50 minutes. Okay, that's like a long... Okay, so when I first started, I had a lot of like insecurities and sort of like needs and being wanted to be seen, like vanity, like wanting to like show myself off, wanting to be loved and wanting to be accepted and everything, and also like seeing things in hierarchies, like some people are more superior than others, and like such a big account, like wow, and like pedestaling them and all of that. And Like my first quest was to be followed back by everyone that I wanted to be followed back by. I've achieved this already, so I'm like, hell yeah. And I kind of have this ability where like I think of someone that I want to be followed back by, and within a day or two they will follow me back, and that's kind of cool. And then the other one was probably like reaching 1,000 to 2,000 followers, and I've done that. And then after I'd done it, I purged all my followers. I've tried deleting all the people that I've been following, and I also wanted, like when I first started, like I was obsessed with the likes, like the like counts and the dopamine hits. It's like every time I got like a notification that someone liked my post, I was like, oh my god, because if you're lowbie and like you're tweeting into the void, no one's hearing you. And then one time you get like 40 likes on a post and you're like, oh my god, what is this? Yeah. And then you get 200 likes on one post and you're like, what? And you get a viral tweet, and then actually viral tweets don't hit as strong as like 300 likes by your mutuals.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And then when Twitter changed to X and then sex spots came in, and it was just like, it kind of felt like post-apocalyptic scene. And I was like walking through the wastelands, and then I became private for 6 months. In the past 6 months. And I tried premium. And I got that premium from the engagement I got from a post where everyone was going nuts on me. Because my tweet was so controversial. It got like 2.5 million views or something.
What was it?
It was about, I was really high, and I basically tweeted like right before I fell asleep, like, it's kind of weird to say thank you for things that you don't feel thankful for, like as an etiquette thing. Or maybe sorry. Maybe it was sorry. Like
that.
And then everyone was like, this person needs to be killed, like
Jesus.
And they started scrolling through all my media tabs and then like screenshotting my old tweets, and like it was crazy. And then using that money, I got the premium. And then I locked my account.
Wait, do you get money even if you don't have premium?
No,
you need to have premium. And then I got Twitter money, like the Elon bucks as well, from like the ad revenue and stuff.
Yeah, but you said you got premium from that.
No, wait. I got the engagement.
You got premium, and then you got money.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I've tried everything. I don't feel much when I see the likes count anymore. I don't really feel much when like the following doesn't even matter at all to me. And I've tweeted so much of this like vulnerable stuff, like the earnest stuff, and at the start I thought I had to find a brand, like my voice, like finding my voice. And then I kept like limiting myself to like certain content. So if my tweet blew up, I would try to think like, what is it about this tweet that made it blow up that people liked, and how could I recreate it? But it's not really like that. It's like, and then I was just like, you know what? I can post anything and see what happens. And it's like, it's fucking fine, you know? And I see the whole 16,000 tweets that I tweeted as a whole portfolio. So if there's one that got 2 likes, that is part of the whole big portfolio picture. And that's nice too. And so I got a lot of that. I will come back, but it's like, man, I think I'm kind of done with it. So
I think I've heard some people say, like, for example, I think I've heard, for example, maybe Christine expressed some of the same things some time ago, and some of the replies she had, for example, by Visa was like, at this point you can, like, one of the possible continuation is like help people. And do you feel like this call, like, okay, I'm done with like all this experiment?
Oh no. So it's like that comes later. I think I'm putting too much energy. I have put a lot of energy figuring how to do the Twitter thing instead of focusing that on the landscape architecture stuff, for example. And I got fucking good at the Twitter thing, I think. But it trickles down to everything. Like, the social interactions that you learn on Twitter actually applies on like in person as well. So much. And I got so good at it. And I'm so fucking grateful for all the Teapot people for teaching me how to just like see things, like see everything. And yeah. You know how people like shit on like Teapot and then just being like, people are always like talking about the same thing. People are in like just different phases of the whole journey, right? Yeah. And I think I've like gotten my fair share of it. I want to redirect all that attention towards something that feels more important to me now, which is the
design.
Yeah. So that's why. Yeah.
Oh. Essentially, I expected this question to be boring, but it was fascinating.
Ah. Oh, I have another one, but my quest with Instagram hasn't finished because Instagram is a totally different platform and with totally different social norms, especially if you have Korean friends. And there's like a Korean Instagram social norm.
Korean?
Yeah, Korean. And 2/3 of my followers on like my friends mutuals on my Instagram are my friends, and it's very intimate. But they all follow this kind of like rigid pattern of like you gotta look nice in a very certain way. They don't know how to be like look natural in photos. They all like post just this kind of like weird vanity kind of like it's not natural.
Interesting.
Yeah, and like at the start I thought I had to conform to this, and then later I was like, what if I just like post photos of myself that don't fit that standard, but that feels more right? And the more I started doing that, the more I felt like, wait, I could just do this. Like I could just express myself this way, and like, and so I'm doing that more and more, and I can feel that the energy is different, and that other people receive it well as well. Like even the Korean people, and so I think once I get good at that one, it's so fucking over for everybody, bro. Like. Because I think posting pictures of yourself is quite vulnerable.
For
like,
sure, yeah.
no matter how many times you do it, there's something about it. It's just, yeah, I wanna. I became way more comfortable doing that.
Do you only post photos of yourself, or also like design or stuff you see, or?
Oh, so even that, people tend to just post photos of themselves on Instagram, because you see, if you post too many photos, like too many posts, then you're seen as like an attention seeker, so you can only do it like once a month. But you wanna like, and you get more likes if you post photos of yourself instead of like landscape. So people, because okay, right, attention is so scarce in Instagram compared to Twitter and Teapot. Because in Teapot the norm is that you can just tweet constantly and interact with people. But in Instagram you don't do that. It's all on the DMs, like you don't really interact in the replies.
That's true.
And so like the likes, the opportunities to get likes is so rare that if you were to do it, you gotta do the best. Like you gotta send the best photos of yourself, and like you gotta look good in it, that kind of thing. But what I learned from Twitter is that no, you don't have to do that.
It's like
You can do it. You can post as much as you want. All these norms are just like it's a facade. Like you made it up, right? You don't have to follow it. But there's also a way of curating each post so that all the photos and videos kind of like flow well together. And this is when you have to let go of your ego, because there's like a sense that you want to post that one picture that looks good, but if it doesn't fit with the whole like the whole portrait of like the if there's like a 6 series of photos, right, and this one photo that you want to put in doesn't vibe with the other ones, yeah, it's like triptych or like that tick thing, right, then you have to take it out, and I'll be like, okay, for next time, or just don't show anybody, like it's okay, and then like post it, like that kind of stuff.
Stories.
So it's like that kind of curational feeling.
Wow, that helped me more about Instagram. But
Yeah, I'm pretty good at selling these kind of things. And then you wanna like put in some of your passions through photos, like the gardens that I visited or the canal survey that I did. And then people tend to post as if the post is one-off, but if you go into someone's profile, it's a whole grid, right? And if you're really fucking good at Instagram, you post. You think in a year term, like these are what he says.
Our plans are measured.
Yeah, it's a long-term thing. So say if you had a grid like 3 photos, and then there's like 9 photos, 9 months, right? But it doesn't have to be 9 months, right? But then some people are so good at that, like you can see a whole color scheme change,
that's
like
true.
so like white to brown to green, right? I'll show you one. And she's so good at that. And then it's like which photo you choose at your front cover that shows at the front, and which goes with all the other ones that are like around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like a whole game. But people are really people are like, so all the art, the people who do Instagram for their living, who are doing aesthetics, are fucking good at that. And you can like notice so much of this like once you like realize like there's so much potential to doing Instagram the way that you can do Twitter. And so like I deactivated Twitter. I'm like, okay, it's time for Instagram a bit. And Instagram's way better for art stuff because it's so visual, right? And Twitter is like word stuff. So I'm thinking of planning. Sorry, so much spit. I'm thinking of putting more of that kind of visual inspiration stuff there and following more of the artists. And
On one account or multiple?
I have 3 accounts, but people just don't know. And I have 3 accounts on Twitter that people just don't know. Yeah, because the algorithm keeps fucking me up. So I have like an aesthetics account, and then like friends account, and then an account that I used when I was in university with my university photos. But it's like a diary that I closed and I put it away, and then now I have this. Yeah, I'm thinking of making another account for when people ask me for my Instagram. Like, you know, when you go to a party and then they're like, "What's your Instagram?"
Yeah.
I'll just give them like some like throwaway account with some photos on it. Yeah. So yeah. Do you question an intentional cultivation of a way of being? What?
That's
And I think we've covered that.
Yeah, we covered
at the
this.
beginning.
How do you reconcile your interest in design to your weirdness gremlin energy? Oh, that was so hard. 60 minutes though, like maybe we could do it in I don't know, I'm fine with it, but I just don't want to like trap you in this.
I don't feel trapped.
I'm having fun.
Okay.
I'm getting juice though.
Okay. Can I get some milk again?
Lactose free?
Yeah.
I love how we have interviewee be also the interviewer and read the questions.
Yeah. We don't have to do anything.
I'm self-interviewing. No, but then no.
Yeah, that's good.
However, like I can't do this without people.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
can't talk to myself.
Yeah.
I gotta have someone listening to me.
Sounds reasonable.
We don't have mango anymore.
We have mango inside.
You want raspberries?
Ooh. I should have done this earlier, man. What? You snack while we podcast.
Some people will like stop the video here. Some people like just the idea of someone drinking on the microphone is extremely triggering.
True.
Sorry.
Yeah, how do you reconcile your interest in design to your weirdness gremlin energy? That one was so fucking tough because I thought I had like split personality. Like, so I go through like extroversion and introversion phase cycles where it's just kind of defined by high energy and low energy. When I'm high energy, it's very much like oriented towards outside, and River Kenna described me as an electric cable where I don't really have the control over the energy, but I'm so good at like conducting the energy. So like when it flows, it's like so much of it flows, like sort of like that kind of woo level of like peak energy kind of thing. And then when it's not there, it's just not there. It's like a train that stopped without any fuel. In terms of like interpersonal like dynamics. So in that extroversion the state phase, I'm like fucking gremlin as fuck. Like this kind of like that creature thing happens, and it's hard for me to work. Like it's hard for me to put that into like sitting and reading books or theorizing about something or just contemplating. And
When you're high energy.
yeah. There's like literally no thoughts, head empty, non-verbal kind of vibe, and just like I just can't think, and also think there's like no interiority already. Like there's like no flaw, no self almost. Like there's just like I don't know. It's like this pure energy feel. But then when I'm introvert phase, that's when I start reading, writing, sort of metabolizing, contemplating, and that's when I feel more aligned with that interest in design and doing art stuff, because a lot of that is kind of sedentary. Like you sit in a studio, you work, do some drawings, and you think about things, and then you write that down, and then transfer into an idea, and then draw that. So I was just like, fuck, I don't know, like this makes me feel like it's like trapping me into a low energy state, and I don't know what to do about that. I still haven't fully figured that out, because I do see it as like when I'm high extroversion, I just want to go around talking to people. But I'm like, what if I used those two different phases for different sort of uses. Like I could talk to you.
Yeah, like you laid
Yeah,
a lot of
I
concept
could-
in design. And,
Yeah, I could talk to you about my passions. We could visit like places together, do more physical things like go explore a garden, right? And
in your high energy.
yeah, just be like express that passion physically more, I guess. And then you can do so much. Like you can travel and absorb all those experiences, and then when you're in the introvert era phase, you can sort of metabolize those experiences and then channel it into the work that you're making, which is very true because of all the things that I've experienced in New York and all the entities I've met and like the New York egregore and then Rich told me about Neoplatonic Christianity, which is about like angels, everything having like angels and demon representatives and stuff. And I wouldn't have been able to experience that if I wasn't manic and like doing drugs. and like I actually saw them, I felt them, I was them, you know, like that kind of stuff. And so like what people talk about, write about, theorize about, I could actually have first-hand experience with that if I'm in that extrovert state, I think.
And do you integrate that with the way you do art or design or something like that?
I think so. I haven't like fully done it yet, but I'm about to do it now. Yeah, and I've written about some, and I've told my parents about it. So yeah, and they were like, "Wow, this is so fascinating."
And your parents are cool.
Yeah, my parents are quite accepting of all of this. Yeah, but then I know that my dad like first-hand experiences. I'm just like my dad. Like, my dad would buy really creepy fucking paintings when I was a kid, and it would creep me the fuck out. And he was just like, "There's some energy to this painting," and then I was just like, "Yeah," and I hate it. And then he's like, "Look," and you know, I told you about how like he's so good at just like picking the right art that speaks to people, and I think it's all like spiritual, like it's like energy stuff, like what speaks to you, and he's just like he's like so drawn to it, and I feel the same. So when I tell him about my experiences with regards to like beauty or aesthetics or art, like he gets me. So yeah, that's nice. And my mom's more so my dad's like that super extrovert state all the time, and my mom's the super introvert state all the time. And I inherited both of their neuroses. That's why I have like this weird split back and forth between very extroverted and very introverted. Yeah.
And it's short cycle, isn't it? Or do you also like in winter it's like more introvert?
Oh yeah, it's like seasonal, and it tends to be in winter I'm introverted and in summer I'm extroverted. And it definitely depends on the people that I hang out with as well. Yeah, it's like this synergy thing going on. So even when I'm like burnt out, when I'm with the right people, I get hyped up again. Yeah.
Cool.
You know, that sounds like annealing and other processes that are sort of oscillating between yin and yang, explore and exploit, expand, contract.
And I heard that women are more of like cyclical, like they experience.
I have heard that.
Yeah, and maybe that's the thing. I don't know.
Isn't it?
What? Well, at least
What
in
do
my
you-
experience, it's like that.
Do you feel cyclical?
Do I feel cyclical? No.
I feel so cyclical. I don't know if it.
Do you? Sorry.
Do you?
Yeah, at least seasonal. Seasonal extremely, like people in my life come that a lot. And at shorter scales maybe, but I'm not yet so attuned to that.
Yeah, I go like at least like a third of my year depressed.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I gain weight, depressed, and then lose it weight.
Oh,
and then,
same. Oh
Ah!
my god. I have a notebook where I wrote a timeline of like the last 12 years. And I call it...
Do the cycles get longer, like the seasons?
over the last 3 years a bit. But I don't know what's up about What's what?
Mine's like that. So I used to be, for every day I spent extroverted, I needed one day to be introverted when I was in middle school. And it just kept getting longer and longer. So it's like 1 week extroversion, 1 week introversion.
Whoa, yeah, it hasn't stopped increasing.
It just kept going more and more. And then it was just like 2 months extroversion, 2 months introversion. 1 whole year extroverted, 1 whole year introverted. But now it's kind of like kind of like half year extroverted, half year. No, but the extroversion probably lasts like maximum 3 to 4 months a year, and then there's like a middle state, the transitional states.
Yeah.
And then it is very much seasonal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
It's like summer, wow,
Yeah.
autumn transition, winter,
So
and then
vexing.
like spring transition, yeah.
Simon has a whole post about that. It would be interesting.
Wow. So when people say like Inju is a force of nature, I'm like, well, we're all children of nature, right? And I feel very much that way as well.
Ah,
Yeah.
interesting.
I don't relate to the season thing at all.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Like I burn out, I rest, I flourish, I burn out, I rest, I flourish. Like I bloom more like, you know.
Which is desynchronized with season 5.
Yeah. Yeah, it's more synchronized with do I have a job? Do I have enough money to quit a job?
Oh. Do you have a job?
No. But I have enough money to quit a job.
Oh.
Yeah, what phase are you in now?
Doing this thing phase.
I'm blooming. 26-year-old bloomer.
And do you?
He's only 26. He's a fucking
Oh my God.
baby.
How old are you?
I'm 24, but he's 26 is but in these parts that's a baby. Because the average age is like 30.
What is it? How old do you think I am?
I think you're my age.
I think you're like 29.
I'm 27.
What?
You're from 97, right?
96.
96, okay.
Wait, what's your birthday?
7 of August.
Oh,
So
mine's
close.
August 2nd.
Besties.
Best Leo siblings. Wait, are you a Leo?
Yeah.
Yeah, Leo brothers.
Wow. Okay, I gotta write. Oh fuck, I don't have my phone. Oh, is that my phone?
Maybe my phone.
Yeah, I need to write it down too. Do-do-do.
I think it's the beard, but I knew that you were younger than I think you are.
It's crazy. Like if I shave and I'm thin, if I'm not fat and shaved,
Yeah.
people give me 22 or something like that. And if I'm like fatter and like long beard,
Yeah.
I'm 35 or
Wait, August 7th?
yeah.
Okay.
7 August. Wow. Yeah.
Wait, Yanni, how old are you again? Yeah. Oh wait!
Yeah.
We're bundles.
There's a lot of 27.
I feel like I can tell when
996?
people are my age, even when they don't tell me.
Yeah.
You too?
What?
Can you tell when
What's your
people are your
birthday?
age, even though like
Huh?
with a greater accuracy than
Oh yeah.
telling whether they're like some other age?
One week after mine.
Frame for that is it's like 7 years phase
Yeah.
and like 20 and 27 is like the transition between like every 7 years.
But this doesn't happen just at this phase, right?
No, it was like also all the cultural things you shared from being born. Like
Yeah, exactly.
it's more that actually. Cool. Yeah.
I think we're done.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah.
Sweet. This was great.
It was amazing.
Thanks for talking to us
Yeah.
and being recorded.
Oh, I kind of want that on the Twitter.
You want it on Twitter?
Yeah, but it's too long. Oh, YouTube?
It can go on YouTube and it can definitely go on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have long videos on Twitter.
Sound bites as well, you know.
It's so interesting because the beginning was so awkward. At least I was tense. And like
Yeah. Once I was like, I always get into that place where I kind of get, like, I start imagining things and just like change. And then that was like that long yap.
yeah.
And then after that, it was like, ugh. Yeah.
We're doing it!
Which is like a 4-way high five.
Wait. Yeah! Let's go!
Wait, am I the first big podcast or have you done another?
Olivier.
Olivia, but
Was
Olivia was
25.
like, yeah, half as long.
Oh, mine was long.
Yeah, yours is long. We probably can't do every podcast like this.
Yeah.
25 is like, wait, third of the time.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. Yay!
Yeah, this was great.
This is good because now when people ask me like what's up with my life, I'll just be
I
that
think
thing.
that was good, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was just like this. I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to explain myself for the last time.
No, I don't have to speak ever again.
Ever again. For the next year.